Yeah, but I'm not gonna. I've just started my stream. It's on my SLR Ham 19. I'm gonna just. Right. Hopefully this works now. How do you copy a link? Right, here we go. Yes, apologies for the delay, everyone. I was having some big issues with Twitch and getting the stream up and running, but we have got one going now. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to SLR. We're here for round 11, I believe it is, of the F2 Division season 5 of that, for the Brazilian Grand Prix. And we've joined partway through the race on lap 2. This being the sprint race, of course, with a reverse top 10 on the grid. Looks like it was Crispy who got pole. He's at 1 from P10, so a good start there from Crispy. Getting the extra 4 points pole. Currently leading the championship as well is the Dams driver. Dams can win the constructors this weekend as well, I believe, if they've not already done so. Right. Good evening, James, mate. I'll introduce you. So yes, it's Ham and Jam back for the first time in a rather long time on the commentary duties, and it's gotten off to well, an absolutely fantastic start with a load of issues and delays with Twitch, so I can only apologise for that, but we've got going now. And yes, good evening from both of us, and I'll hand it over to James for a second just while I'm sorting out sharing the link to the stream.
Do still have to tick a box on Twitch, so yep, we're having the usual start here.
Big damage from Men's.
Yeah, I caught that. He
Division
got tagged by Ads, I think it was. I can't actually remember who it was now, I'm afraid, but yeah, he went off
and Owen's out
into
as well,
the wall.
Just up the hill.
We now have a safety car. It was first caused by the crash for Division. That was a VSC, and then it's gone to a full course safety car. Right, this will give us a good chance to reset them, won't it, Harry, and finally get this stream underway properly.
Yes. So with it being a sprint race, no mandatory pit stop. But as you can see from my view at the moment, Monkey is deciding to pit for some another set. Is that hard compound tyres? I think going on to.
No, it's another set of mediums.
Another set of mediums. So I don't know whether it's mediums and softs the tyres.
I think so,
this
yeah.
weekend, but if it is, that means that Monkey's going on to the set that he would be using in the feature race. So that's in terms of strategy, maybe not the best thing, but of course you have to change tyres on the game if you pit.
Yeah,
There's
you
no
need a
option
wind
to not
change.
to do so. So yeah, we've got both the Tridents then in between Alan at the rear of the field. Josh and Dodgy have held their own from reverse grid pole and second, which is 9th and 10th in qualifying. Beast is up 3, Corey up 4, Darnell up 2, at the expense of Southerner, who's moved down 1. Bennett's up 4, Crispy's up a couple, as I mentioned earlier. He started from pole, or he got pole, sorry, in the one-shot quali. He started from 10th. Baggy's up 4, so Baggy's had a really good start in the other high-tech, and Midsy's down 1 position. That's the top 10 at the moment. Of course, the top 8 are the drivers that score unless you get the fastest lap, in which case you can be anywhere from 10th and up, and you get the extra couple of points for the fastest lap. Right then, so at the moment, in terms of the championship, Crispy, with the extra 4 points that he has received for pole position, currently holds a 19-point lead over SLR Darnell. So Darnell really needs to have a big weekend here in terms of points scored over Crispy. He's going about it pretty nicely at the moment, up a couple of positions and currently 3 places ahead of the Dams driver. The other driver really in championship contention is Race Roller, but as you can see, the Prema seat is occupied by Midsey tonight, reserving. So Roller's missing this round, which if Crispy and Darnell score well enough, could, well, not mathematically, it will almost certainly put him out of championship contention, you think. But of course we do have the triple header in Jeddah with the 2 sprints and the feature, so that will of course offer some extra points there. But as we look down the order here, then Josh is in a very good position at the moment, and Dodgy, of course, Dodgy Evo champion this season. So you know, he's shown his worth, and up against the big guns really, because he's found himself in these sort of positions quite often this season. Really has Dodgy. So then, are we going to have the safety car in this lap and get some action underway? I'll tell you what, the other thing actually that I haven't just noticed is Mason Gammon down 12 places, but that means that he qualified up in 6th place, so it was a really strong qualifying for the Trident driver. Unfortunately, just not gone his way thus far. Of course, that is the advantage, I suppose, of F2. It didn't go well for you in the first race, you've got another one to try and make up for it. So then, are we going to have the safety car in this lap? Are we going to get back to the action? Yes, we are. Perfect. Let's go external view from the perspective of Josh, who's going to lead us away on this restart. When is he going to pull the trigger? Looks like it's now then, as we get back underway with green flags. We've got 3 wide in the background here with Corey, Beast and Darnell down into turn 1. Darnell looks to try and get the move done, and I think he has done on Corey, as Corey got all out of shape there on the exit, and now that might give Southerner the opportunity then to get past the Virtuosi car. Has a little look, has a think about it. Ooh. Went for it, didn't go for it, and then hit the back of Corey, but doesn't look like there's any major damage there to either of them. And I tell you what, that little battle down 3 wide into turn 1, James, has given Josh and Dodgy a very nice gap out front. I'm sure they won't be complaining at all about that one.
No, not at all. Beast had already been kind of left in the dust really on the restart by the top 2. He was a good kind of 1.6, 1.7 seconds back before that battle into the first corner. We have Alan spinning in the background.
Crispy and Bennett. James going side by side, and Bennett's hit Midsy coming back onto the track, and I think that was an end plate from the Prema car there.
Yeah, front left end plate's gone on the Prema.
Yeah, Crispy and Bennett were having a bit of a wheel to wheel. Bennett ended up going off the track, and then in rejoining came into the path of the Prema and took off an end plate. So Midsy won't be best pleased about that, and he's trying to go around the outside now of Bennett into turn 1. He's got the inside now for turn 2, but Bennett holds firm, keeps the position for now. Crispy, another place gained for him though on the restart, but Darnell as well gained that place, so the gap remains 3 positions still. As I'll bring up the gap, the intervals here. We've got a little bit of battling going on further behind with Monkey and Marsh. But yeah, Dodgy and Josh then have managed to acquire themselves a very nice 2.5 gap there to Beast after that 3 wide moment on the restart. So this is giving Josh or Dodgy a very nice chance, a golden opportunity, you'd have to say, to win a race here.
Yeah,
and you know what, James, at the moment they're really holding their own. That Beast isn't really bring that gap down.
No, not at all. I've been on board with Darnell, who's been kind of all over the back of Beast this lap. Really had a really wide moment just before the run up the hill. But yeah, as we've got a battle for the lead now emerging, Harry, I think Dodgy's gone up the inside of Josh into turn 1, and he's made that move stick through the centre S's.
Yeah, apologies, I was just checking the battle between Midsy and Bennett, and of course as soon as I go off it, Midsy does get that move done, so Midsy now up to 8th. Josh trying to look round the outside at turn 4. What a move that would be, as he went onto the grass there trying to get past Dodgy in the ART. Not able to do it though, as he's not in the Dodgy's not in the ART, sorry. Nearly getting the move done there. Dodgy's in the Campos, there we go, get it right, Harry. That was a nervy moment there, that could have gone horribly wrong, but both drivers remain intact. Lost a little bit of time though, 2-3 tenths to Beast. It's a tricky one because they'll both be gunning for the win, but of course they don't want to be losing too much time here, because if they get Beast DRS, if Beast can get into that 1 second window, then he's going to gain a lot of time down the straights on him, as Josh gets all over the curb there at the final braking zone. And that is going to allow Beast to get into the DRS, and Dodgy's trying to pull away here. We've got some battling going on further behind with Mason Gammon Bennett and Midsy. Mason Gammon now up into 8th, so he's had a fantastic restart. Mason Gammon, he's gained 8 places, James. We completely missed that one, but yeah, Mason Gammon in the Trident, he's had an excellent restart.
Yeah, he certainly has, with that penalty though, of course, as well. So yeah, 3-second time penalty will take him down and out of the points as it stands. Bennett's going to go down the inside of Mason, make that move for P8, but Mason gets a lovely switchback. That mistake from Bennett as well allows Midsy back through up into P9 as well. So yeah, lovely little battle emerging between these 3 for P8.
Yeah, we've got Ads off on the exit of turn 4 there as Beast now. Ads' teammate has gotten past Josh, so the MP driver up into 2nd now, and I'm sure he'll be eyeing up Dodgy to try and go for the victory here. But Dodgy, I think that gap is over a second. The interval isn't showing up, but visibly to the naked eye, I'd say that looks over a second at the moment. And I tell you what, Josh is hanging on to DRS from Beast here by an absolute thread, as the MP driver's on a bit of a charge. And I tell you what, the top 7 have they've just gone. If you look on the mini map there, the gap to the Trident is big, as Josh went deep into turn 1. He had Darnell going around the outside at turn 2 and spun off of the side of the Dams car, the Race Lab car, sorry, the HWA. And wow, things just going from bad to worse then for Josh. In the space of a couple of laps, his entire race has really unfolded there. Bennett's now gone just on the exit of turn 4 as well.
We have this group as well now from Darnell to Crispy, P3 to P6, all hunting down these top two. It looked like earlier on as well, as I mentioned before, Darnell was quicker than Beast. So at this rate, they've still got plenty of time as well to catch Dodgy. I don't think Dodgy's lead is safe yet at all. He is just out of Beast. He's just got that 1 second gap to Beast, so no DRS for Beast behind him. I think Corey's going to go for a move for P3, so these guys are all going to be fighting each other as well as potentially getting themselves into the fight for the win as well, Harry, with 3 laps now to go.
Yeah, definitely. I think the stewards may have a look at that Darnell and Josh incident as well. I wouldn't be surprised if that one gets sent in. Darnell's looking to come back then at Corey. Has the inside line for turn 4. But Corey's going to get the switch back and have a go back at the HWA car here. Is the Virtuosi driver. He's going to try round the outside at turn 6. This would be an incredible move if he can pull it off, but no. Darnell just squeezes Corey out on the exit and holds firm in 3rd. Crispy as well, right on the back of Southerner, trying to get up into 5th, because if he gets into 5th and Corey gets past Darnell, then, you know, look at that. It's Darnell 4th, Crispy 5th. That would be a great battle to watch, as Beast looks like he may just have gotten DRS off of Dodgy. It's very close though.
No, he's not got it.
No. So he's going to have to wait another lap then, is the MP driver. It's Corey versus Darnell, round 2 then. Who's going to come out on top this time, as Corey dives to the inside at turn 1. Sold Darnell the dummy.
Watch out for Southerner as well, Harry.
On it, and he's not having any of it. Darnell holds firm. Crispy trying to go round the outside at turn 3 on Southerner, but again, both the Darnell boys then holding on to their respective positions. But Corey's had a fantastic run out of turn 5. He's going to try it again round the outside, is he, at turn 6? Darnell cut him right across the curb there to leave Corey room, but no, nothing doing again, so they remain as they were. Corey just pushing so hard. You can see he's almost hitting the back of Darnell through some of these corners.
He's
really
got within a second as well, Harry.
Yeah, so Beast's gonna maybe have a lap or so. Oh,
Dodgy's round. He's clipped the curb and he's gone.
Eagle Devil. Disaster for Dodgy. It's all unfolded for the lead 2.
It was going to be P2 at worst.
First it was Josh, then it was Dodgy. Corey, is he going to do it again? Round the outside, he's going to have to try it through the centre S's this time. Darnell again though, just slightly outbraking Corey, not able to get any sort of momentum going through turn 2. Is the Virtuosi. Having a look round the outside at turn 4 is Corey. Oh my god, he's got the traction as he just squeezed out on the exit. I thought for a second there he was going to fly right round the outside of him, and that would have been an incredible move from Corey, but alas, Darnell again with some very strong defensive driving here, just showing why he is one of the top drivers in this division, as is Corey of course, as are all of these top 5 really, in a league of their own somewhat, 2.5 seconds in front of Mason Gammon. Although having said that, all this battling of course has allowed the Trident driver to close that gap down rather substantially.
Is Corey going to get the run up to the line?
Yeah, is he gonna get the run? It's going to be Beast to take the victory.
Here he comes.
So Beast with another victory for him. Corey, is he going to get it? Not quite. It was half a tenth in the end. But Darnell holds on. It's Corey in 3rd. Southerner takes P4 with Crispy 5th. Midsey gets P6. Dodgy 7th. With Mason, after penalties, taking the final points paying position in P8. Who had the fastest lap? It was Crispy, so an extra 2 points for Crispy. That's very handy for the Dams driver. it will only be losing a couple of points in that race to Darnell then, and still be outscoring him on the whole, I think. So that's a really good recovery, if you want to call it a recovery from reverse grid, or from pole, sorry, and then reverse grid P10, for Crispy. Excellent racing between the 4 drivers from 2nd to 5th. Beast, you've got to hand it to him. He broke away from the group. He got past Josh, and then he hunted down Dodgy and forced the mistake out of the Campos driver to snatch away victory with just over a lap to go. So Beast takes victory. He'll close in slightly on Crispy and Darnell, but I think he's just too far away in the championship to really have any serious shout. But a victory's a victory, and I'm sure Beast won't care about the championship too much after that one. So it's Beast who takes the win from Darnell. Corey is 3rd, with Southerner 4th, Crispy 5th, Midsy 6th. Dodgy comes home P7 with Mason 8th. That's the top 8. Those are the points finishers. Josh from pole ends up in 9th after his spin coming together with Darnell. Shut Medal finishes P10 from 19th. Primus 11th. Baggy 12th. My AI 13th. So shout out to the AI. Ads 14th. Bennett 15th. And then a few DNFs to round off the grid there. But here's the main event, the feature race. We'll have a little few minute short break, and then we'll get into the action. And hopefully we'll get it all from the start this time, so we won't have to worry about joining halfway through. So then, James, based off of that race, and the fact that seemingly the pace between a lot of drivers was pretty close, who are you thinking? What are your predictions for the feature race?
Well, I think we could be in store for a really good battle between the top 2 here. I noticed from the fastest laps, see Crispy got 2 points for first lap, but Mid's only about a 10th. I'm guessing that was before he lost one. So it looks like these 2 guys fighting it out at the front. And again, the 6, 7 even with Mason Gammon in the mix here. I think it's going to be Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, you're breaking up a bit, mate.
Am I? That's weird. I'm not actually. I just sat still, so I'm not quite sure what's going on with.
Oh, you sound better now. Anyway,
Right.
do you want to maybe just run through that little bit again just before we get going for
I
the
was.
feature?
Did you get all the bit about the fastest laps? How?
Just about.
Yeah, Midzy and Crispy very similar fastest laps. Crispy obviously got the 2 points for that, but yeah, Midzy only about a 10th behind. So those 2 look very quick out front. But then again, all of the top 6, and then Mason Gammon as well. 7th had strong pace at the end of that sprint. So I think it would just be a case of the usual in Brazil, the DRS train, and trying to keep your nose clean, avoid the penalties as well. Of course, they're quite easy to pick up. I'm gonna go for Midzy, I think.
So quick look at the grid. Crispy on pole from Midzy and Corey. Darnell with Beast and Southerner on the 3rd row. Then it's Mason Gammon and Men 7th and 8th. Dodgy 9th. Josh 10th. Bennett and SLR Ham on the 6th row. And it looks as though a lot of the drivers opting for the mediums off the start then. So the alternate strategy seemingly quite a strong one round here. I wonder if the softs don't wear too much, and perhaps an early safety car wouldn't really be too detrimental to the drivers if they had to go on to the softs then. So we'll see as we start the formation lap. We'll just quickly check then. Mason Gammon, the only driver in the top 11 starting on the soft compound tyres. I'm sure he'd love an early safety car, would the Trident driver. Then it's Baggy, Allen, Primus Gaming Division, all on the softs. Then we've got 3 more mediums runners, Marsh, Ads and Shut Medal. Then Monkeys on the softs, and Owen rounds out the grid. He's on the mediums as well. So then, of course, feature race, mandatory pit stop. You cannot pit within the first 3 laps, although you can pit the end of lap 3. And that's kind of really all you need to know. There's only two dry weather tyre compounds available. Those quite clearly are the mediums and the softs. And this grid is determined by the qualifying session. So Crispy got pole, and he starts from first. Crispy, of course, I mean, big 25 points this would be for both the team and obviously himself. As I was trying to find whether Dams had already wrapped up the constructors or however many points they needed to do so, but either way they're very close, if not already over the finish line with that one. And of course there's still 2 rounds to go this season, so I think that's all but settled. The main focus here, of course, is the Drivers' Championship. It's Crispy versus Darnell, really, with Roller missing this round and Beast just being slightly too far back. He's got 2 cars in between himself and Darnell already, Crispy. He needs to make the most of this advantage, really. I say that, Darnell's the one doing the chasing. How much is Darnell going to risk in order to try and catch Crispy in the championship? So here we go then. 4, 5 red lights. And we go in Brazil. A long hold there before we got underway, but Crispy's had a fantastic start. Midzi a bit sluggish off the line, and Corey's going to look to go round the outside of the Prema into turn 2. He's got the inside line back on the outside for turn 3, but he's got it done as Corey. So Corey up into P2. Crispy holds firm off the start. Then it's Darnell holding position as well in P4. Most of the top 10 holding firm, holding position as Midzi's coming back at Corey. The number 1 versus the number 3 car, battling over positions 2 and 3 as Midzi's going round the outside at turn 6. Corey's learnt from Darnell here, has he? Trying to force the Prema around the outside, but Midzi's got it done here. The outside again for turn 7, but he's through back up into P2. But Corey's not giving this one up without a fight, but he has to now. Just squeezed out as we got a car on the grass there in the background. I think that's Menz as he was battling with Josh. So the teammates battling amongst themselves there down at the Carlin team. So the top 8 then all staying as they were. Yellow flags in the background. I think that's Owen as Corey's coming back at Midzi, is he? Down into turn 1. Round the outside then goes Corey. I mean, this battling's helping Crispy so much. He's got 2 seconds over these guys already as Corey goes right round the outside through turn 1, inside for turn 2, and he gets the move done. So Corey back up into 2nd place, but Midzi and Darnell, as you can see, pulling into the slipstream, getting the toe behind the Virtuosi. Down the inside goes Midzi, and he's got the move done, just easing off of the brake to allow his car to roll out and squeeze Corey on the exit. And Darnell, opportunistic as ever, has got past Corey as well. So Darnell up into 3rd, a double position loss for Corey, but Darnell, that's the sort of thing he's got to do. He's got to be opportunistic. He's got to capitalise on drivers being forced out wide and making mistakes, because he needs to get at least into 2nd, and then really he's got to start chasing down Crispy in that Dams car. As Crispy 2.8 second lead already. He's absolutely flying out front, James.
Yeah, he certainly is. I've been keeping track of Mason Gammon, who's actually on the softs, but like the rest of the top 10, he's using that to his advantage though, and keeping up with his top 6 group rather nicely. Men's as well behind. He's on the mediums, just starting to lose touch. If he can kind of claw back that gap a little bit, that could come in handy for him on those medium tyres. But it looks like Mason all over the back of Sudden, Harry. That's kind of the closest gap that I've seen in the last couple of laps or so. There's been a few positions changes further down because of spins and incidents, but overall most of the pack kind of settling into their positions now, just getting into the train as DRS has been enabled this lap.
Yeah, I was going to say DRS enabled. Mason Gammon then right on the back of Summerall. Is he going to have a look round the outside of turn 6? Thought about it. Wasn't really enough room to go for the move, and he's having to sit behind the ART and wait for now. Or is he? As he dives down the inside of turn 7. It turns to the outside though for turn 8. Has he got the traction on those soft compound tyres to go around the outside? Not quite, but he might have a look again into turn 9. As down the inside goes the Trident driver. Sumner trying to hold on the mediums, but just hasn't quite got the grip at the moment. Mason should have the advantage, and he's proving that as he gets himself up into 6th, and he's now going to look to try and get past Beast for P5. Corey 3 tenths behind Darnell. It is volume 2 round, goodness knows what, for Corey and Darnell's battle this weekend at Brazil. But Darnell has the advantage of the DRS off of Midzi, and he wasn't able to do anything this time round. Gap to Crispy has closed by about half a tenth to a tenth, so at the moment Crispy looking very nice indeed out front. Just shows how powerful the DRS is, because Corey's not really able to put any inroad into Darnell there, and he's having to settle for P4 at the moment. Mason Gammon then on those softs, reeling in Beast. He's got to make the most of the tyre advantage while he's got it, and he's looking to do so, trying to catch up to the back of the MP Motorsport car. Let's have a look at Bennett, because he's right on the back of Baggy. High Tech versus ART in the hands of Bennett here through this middle sector. Not really too many passing opportunities unless someone makes a mistake, and at the moment Baggy not doing so. Softs versus mediums though, if you look at the compounds, as Monkey has crashed on the exit of turn 2 there. Yellow flags, but doesn't look like any VSC or safety car at the moment, as we've got another spinner as well. That's Allen down on the exit of turn 9. Bennett then down the inside, and he's got the move done before we even get to turn 1. So Bennett then up into P11, but 3.5 seconds the gap between himself and Dodgy for P10. Mason Gammon right on the back of Beast. Had a little think about it into turn 4, but not quite close enough to go for even a lunge. Definitely not go for any sort of meaningful move. Got to be so close really to go for a move in these cars. Or you've got to use a bit of brute force, but generally people don't like that, and that is more than fair enough, you've got to say. As Beast has managed to get himself within a second of Corey, so that's going to help his defence from Mason. Through then, final couple of corners we go. Crispy still with a 2.8 gap out in front. Doing very nicely indeed is Crispy. Again, no one going to be close enough by the looks of things to make a move down into turn 1. When are we going to see some hitters, I wonder? We've already got one. Baggy's in. Looking like the mediums runners maybe lap 12 and lap 13 for them. I think the softs runners pit window is probably open any time from now.
I've just got a bit of a thought here, right? If you're Mason especially, could it just be worth seeing how long you can kind of hang on to the DRS of these guys in front? Just kind of try and make as much use of those soft tyres as possible. Or as I say that he gets a penalty. But yeah, if he can kind of go a little bit longer, that might help him. That might help him out at the end potentially, perhaps. Or do you think the undercut's kind of too powerful to be wasting laps on older tyres?
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky one, James, because obviously the undercut will give him maybe a few seconds advantage, but these guys on the softs are just going to reel him in so quickly. I think either way, he's probably going to be finishing 6th at best, provided there's no mishaps out front. As Corey now setting the fastest lap, Darnell not close enough to Mitzi, despite only being a few tenths back, heading on to the main straight here.
Could see a move from Mason here, Harry.
Mitzi's getting some fantastic traction off of these slow speed corners, James. He's not really being challenged at the moment, as Mason down the inside of turn 4 then forced Beast to give him some room, which he did, to his credit. The MP driver had a little look into turn 6, thought better of it. So Mason then up into P5, 2-second gap though to Corey in 4th, and that little group there in the battle for 2nd place. Crispy extending that gap now 3 more tenths to 3.1 seconds. So Crispy looking very, very comfortable out front at this current moment in time.
I think Beast might be too far back to having the go at Mason here, but those soft tyres still look good on the Trident car here. He's losing a bit of time, obviously, with the DRS with the guys in front, but it still looks like there's some life left in those yet. Although, as I say, that Beast gets a lovely run now, Harry. Could be seeing a move. Oh no, he's made a bit of a mistake on the curb in turn 3.
I mean, it raises a question then, James. If you're Darnell, do you look at pitting, you know, lap 11, lap 12, trying to not only get past Mitzi, but try and gain some time to Crispy? Because, I mean, I don't see any other way of Darnell catching his championship rival other than going for something bold on the strategy and going for quite a substantial undercut.
No, I think
it might mean his tyres are worse towards the end of the race, but I mean, surely that's something that you've got to sacrifice in favour of obviously trying to get the race win.
Yeah, exactly. I think if I'm him, I'm pitting as early as I kind of physically can before those tyres really are in risk of getting a puncture. I think Mason's showing that doing even 8-9 laps on these softs is going to be worthwhile. So I think kind of end of lap 10 even we could see it could be worth the likes of Darnell or Corey coming into the pits just to try and claw back some of that gap that Crispy has and is just continuing to extend out front.
Yeah, as you say, continuing to extend. It's gone up another 3 tenths the gap, 3.5 now, 3.5 seconds is the lead for the Dams driver. Midsy's generally matching him on a good lap, losing a couple of tenths on a not so good one, but Darnell's really not been troubling the Prema driver too much this race, despite not being much more than about half a second back from him at any one time. There's Beast and Mason are continuing their battle for P5 here in the background. This has allowed Southerner to catch back up to them. So the ART driver joining in this battle for P5 now. Are we going to see Mason pit at the end of this lap? I think it's probably quite likely. And then the other battle for the points main positions for P8 between Josh Menz and Dodgy, all of whom are within a second of each other. So then Beast, is he going to be close enough to go for a move on Mason? Mason gets quite a nice exit out of the final corner, or the final braking zone.
Beast got a better
Mason
one though.
staying out another lap. He's staying out another lap. Beast should get a better one. There's Darnell very close to the back of Mitzi now, as Beast is probably going to get that move done as I've gone away. Not quite. I think we could see a move though for P2. Darnell's got a very nice run out of the centre S. Mitzi goes offensive very early, forcing Darnell to the outside, then round the outside as we've got an absolutely awful camera view, and there we go, contact between Mitzi and Darnell, and then between Corey and Mitzi as the Virtuosi came through and clipped the Prema that was in a half spin. So I think that might be damage to both Corey and Mitzi. As you see, yeah, from a right end plate for Corey is missing. I think Mitzi might have gotten away with it as well, you know.
Yeah, he looks
But
okay from the
again,
offboards.
Darnell involved in an incident. Big damage for Corey, although it doesn't seem to be affecting him too much at the moment. Mason, 3 attempts back from Beast. He might be holding out for a safety car here. I don't know quite what the game plan is for Mason. Say that and he'll probably pit this lap. But he's got the DRS yet again.
He
He
stayed
does stay
out.
out. So I think you're right, James. It might just be his tactic here, just trying to stick with these guys as long as he can. As Beast goes defensive, trying to scare Mason out of a move there, but Mason gets it done. Beast had a little attempt at a switchback, but just couldn't get the traction, or didn't quite have enough downforce then out of turn 2. But they're now going side by side down the straight. Beast with the inside line in turn 4 gets back up into 5th. And if these guys stop fighting so much, they might be in with a chance of catching Mitzi and Corey, because Mitzi didn't seem to have any visible damage, but he's suddenly just dropped a load of pace since that little bit of contact with Darnell. I wonder if he's kind of just been riled up a little bit, and he's having to regain his composure here, the Prema driver, or whether he does have some damage and it's just not visible. Corey and Midsley, for that matter, barely hanging on to DRS here. Darnell not really making any inroads so far into Crispy, with that gap now up to 4.5 seconds. Then Mason Gammon stays out yet another lap. I think he's just proving how many laps you can do on these tyres.
Do you reckon there's rain
I'm a little
forecast for the end of the race?
Yeah, I wonder if that is the case, because I'm surprised that we've not seen anyone pit yet, because Mason's showing you can do 12 laps on the softs, and yet no one inside the top 11, I don't think, has pitted yet. If we just have a quick look at the pit stops, in fact, no one inside the top 14 has pitted yet.
That
so,
could suggest why Mason went on softs at the start, Harry. Kind of, the rain was, well, supposed to be, yeah,
never really
forecast to
arrived.
come
As
early. Yeah,
we've got
exactly
yellow
that.
flags. Sorry, I thought that was Crispy. Sorry, it's Division, his teammate. I was a bit worried for a second. I was thinking, what's happened? But no, it's Division with a little half spin, little spin. As Josh picks up a penalty now, that would put him down 2 positions behind his teammate and Dodgy into 10th. As Baggy as well getting a penalty. I wonder if you're right. I wonder if there is a bit of rain coming.
I'm just amazed that no one's pitted yet, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't think why no one else has pitted. You're right, James. I'm struggling as well. So, I mean, well, the tyres aren't an issue though, because Crispy just goes and sets another fastest lap with a 17 flat. So there's clearly still some pace in these tyres. I mean, Mason's still hanging on to the DRS of Beast, but Southerner fancies P6 for himself, and he gets up into 6th, but he has an awful run out of turn 2. But then Mason has an awful run through turn 3 with just absolutely no downfalls.
Had to back off to avoid him.
Yeah, maybe showing that those softs are starting to lose a bit of grip. I don't know. Corey, in the meantime, has gained about 6 tenths to Darnell, and even with an M plate missing, is actually gaining time on the dams here. As Crispy's gained another 7 tenths to Darnell, so Crispy absolutely flying.
Mason's all over the
Corey,
shot now, Harry.
even with wing damages flying, Mason's tyres are about to fly off, I think. As well, you could see, in fact, when we went on board with him, the kind of tread, like the tyre was almost...
Yeah, it's very visible.
The outside of the tyre looked very worn. There's still no one pitting. This is bizarre. There must be rain forecast, and it's just never
In now, Harry.
turning up. There we go. Then someone had to pull the pin.
I was going to say, it's
and
getting
it's
to the point
not who we
where-
thought it was going to be.
It's getting to the point where it's got to just be worth pitting. You're going to lose more time surely staying out. Because if it kind of gets to lap 15, 16, then the rain's got to fall really heavily for it to have any effect at all. And of course, as I say that, it starts raining.
Is that rain?
So
there we go.
We'll
Yeah.
have to see how quickly it wets the track really, because if it kind of just stays like this, then all these guys staying out just isn't going to be worth it, and it would have been worth someone pitting about 3 or 4 laps ago. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. Obviously, these guys are out on track. They would have had the forecast before the race, and we obviously, as you all know, had no idea what was going on until about a couple of minutes ago when we figured it was going to rain. So yeah, Mason.
Probably someone been in the chat screaming.
I think we'll have a puncture in a minute, Harry, at this rate.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, Mason's
longer.
lost 4 seconds to Beast. Josh and
just
that
sliding
little
around
group
the track
has now caught up to him as Midzi pits then. So Midzi, his tyres are either giving up the ghost or he thinks it's not going to rain enough. It's softs by the looks of things.
Yeah.
Waiting for the Prema car.
Beast
also in, Mason's also in. I think Mason had to pit though. I think his tyres were going to fall off the proverbial cliff. I don't think they were going to last much longer. Mason had to pit. Midzi gambling, changed his wing as well. Oh no, sorry, Midzi didn't have the damage. It's Corey with the wing damage. But Midzi then, obviously not thinking it's going to rain enough. And this could be an inspired call from the Prema driver because I mean, if Crispy doesn't pit this lap and maybe stays out a couple more, I mean that would be Midzi getting the undercut right there and getting up into the lead. It's an interesting one here. How long do you wait for the rain? Because if it never comes or if it stays like this and you pit lap 19 to do your mandatory stop,
Crispy staying out.
And you're, you know, if you do your mandatory stop lap 19, I mean, Midzi's going to gain more than 5 seconds, you'd think, on fresh softs.
I feel like this is definitely the sort of race where you'd rather be in the sort of position that Midzi was in than out in front like Crispy. I feel like making the call from further back when you've not got as much to lose is always a lot nicer than being in the lead and kind of having all those doubts in your head as to what to do.
It also helps the fact that Midzi's a reserve, so he's got absolutely nothing to lose anyway. But yes, I mean, Crispy's obviously got a championship on the line. If he pits and it goes to into the next lap, his championship rival's just been handed the lead, and Crispy would drop, you know, to around maybe where Ads is, P8, if he pitted. So that's a big chunk of points he'd be giving away. So he's kind of got to stay out, Crispy. He's got to basically wait until Darnell makes a move before he can. Otherwise he risks throwing away a large chunk of points here. I suppose on the other hand, you could say, well, you know, he can afford to sit back. He doesn't have to take any risks. He doesn't have to gamble. He can, I mean, with that 6-second gap as well to Darnell, he can afford to wait. As Midzi then on board with the Prema driver makes a move on Marsh. That's up to P9 now for Midzi. He's got to really take advantage of this clean air to really try and reel in not only Corey and Darnell, who were directly in front of him, but Crispy, who was about 6-7 seconds up the road. Crispy, they're staying out, are they, these guys still? They're all staying out. Dodgy though, Dodgy pits. So Dodgy from P6 and Bennett deciding enough is enough. They're going to have to pit eventually. As I mean, we've got what, 4 laps to go now, and it really doesn't look like the track's getting wet at all. The rain's falling, but it's not settling down on the track.
Midzi obviously
at the moment, this looks like an inspired call from Midzi.
He obviously had some traffic that lap, Harry, but he lapped the exact same lap time as Crispy. I think it was he was 7 thousandths quicker or something like that compared to Crispy. But yeah, they're lapping pretty much identical times still, even with those fresh softs for the Prema driver.
Yeah, I tell you, someone I'm impressed with, James, Corey, wing damage through no fault of his own really, and he's going to get past Darnell now as Darnell loses the car on traction coming out of the final proper corner. And Corey then does get up into P2, so he's missing an end plate, and it's not really affecting him too much. Corey gets past Darnell then and up into second place, so this is a fantastic drive from a wounded Virtuosi car handled by Corey up into second now. Midzi right on the back of Ads, a further 26 seconds or so behind.
I'm keeping
That's
an eye
an
on the
easy
lap
move
times. It was an
up
18.4
into
for
6 as
Crispy.
Ads peels off into the pit 17.8. So that's what, 6/10 getting
Still
there
nowhere
for
near
Mitzi, but
enough.
it's not enough. It's nowhere near, but it should be enough, you think, to see Midzi leapfrog Corey and Darnell. As we'll look at the pit stops, who's still yet to pit? Shook Meadow, Marsh, Menz, Josh, Darnell, Corey and Crispy. The drivers still yet to stop in this race. And this could really shake up the order towards the end. Maybe not so much at the front, but definitely towards the lower end of the points here. Some of the drivers who have opted to stay out are risking their points.
Crispy's still staying out.
I mean, it's just not wet enough. They've got to pit then at the end of this lap. Crispy and Darnell, as Corey pits.
Is Corey going to get his wing changed no matter what?
At this point. He's doing the smart thing that you'd say and getting the undercut. As he isn't, no, smart I'd say from Corey. Didn't seem to be causing him too much hassle, the lack of wing. So he's pitted. And, well, he's going to obviously get an undercut as well on Darnell. So you got to say, that was smart thinking from Corey.
Well, really come out in relation to Crispy, though, hey?
Doing the opposite.
Midzi, sorry.
Come out in relation to Midzi, yeah. As through turn 1 and 2, and then 3 comes the Premier driver, and he's a long way ahead, is Midzi. A long way ahead of Corey on tyres that are, you know, 2-3 laps older. I mean, I don't think Corey's going to gain 3 seconds on Midzi, especially with wing damage, just because his tyres are slightly fresher. So I think Midzi's done a blinder here, and he's going to get P2 probably as a reward. As here we go, we'll go on board with Crispy, and we'll follow him down the order as he's got to pit. So yeah, in comes the Dams. Darnell should
he
follow
swings the
suit.
pits.
Gets a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits, and
I think that's it. I think that's
now.
given Midzi the win,
Where
Harry.
is Midzi going to come out in relation to Crispy?
Surely
that
that's
could be
going to give him the win.
Championship-defining moment from Crispy there. I mean, the one plus side is he should still outscore, as Josh gets one as well. He should still outscore Darnell should Crispy, but that's big. He could be potentially throwing away 7 points here and handing the victory to Crispy. Let's see. To Midzi, sorry, as Crispy coming out of the pits now. Midzi through turns 1 and 2. What is the gap going to be? It looks like Crispy actually still has a rather substantial lead. We were maybe panicking slightly too prematurely there.
Well, I'm not sure.
5.5 seconds. It was only half a second in it, really, for Crispy. He was very, very close to losing this victory, but I think he should be alright now. Corey as well then jumping Darnell, so Darnell's lost 2 places from all of this back to where he started. In fact, the top 4, the top 5, the top 6, the top 7 have all ended up coming back right to where they were. Menz has lost a load of time having to stack behind his teammate in the pits.
And he's
on
the
yellow
wets.
flags. We got yellow flags with Shook Medal spinning down at turn 3. He's on the wets as well as
yeah,
Menz,
and he's
so
in the wall now as
Menz
well.
throwing away a chance of points. Josh has a 5-second penalty. He's going to end up down in 9th as Crispy then crosses the line to take the victory here in Sao Paulo, but it was not as straightforward as it first appeared. Corey crosses the line to take P3, but with that penalty goes back down to 4th. Darnell back up onto the podium. Beast is 5th, Southerner 6th. Mason Gammon then, is he going to hold on? No, he's not. Well, he did at first beat Josh. Josh beat him to the line, sorry, but had more penalties. But then Dodgy came through with even less penalties to take P7. Mason Gammon 8th. Josh 9th, and Ads is going to lose his point because of penalties, I think. Although, is that Bennett in the wall?
Yeah.
Bennett's in the wall.
I caught the end of that.
And he's thrown away his points. Ads then holds on for 10th. Men's 11th. Bennett has thrown away his chance at points in 12th. Baggy 13th. My AI 14th. Marsh 15th. Primus 16th. Shot Medal Owen and Division 17th, 18th, 19th. Rounding out the order, but Wow, I mean, at first that seemed like it was going to be so straightforward to Crispy, and then I'm sure he had his heart in his mouth for a moment when he crossed the pit line a few mile an hour over the speed limit and received that 5-second penalty. Midzi less than a second behind after that penalty in the end, but Crispy holds on to take victory. Another 10 points gained on his championship rival, and you've got to say he's... I don't want to say it, but I am going to say it. I think he's got one hand on that trophy now.
Yeah, I'm really not too sure what happened at the end there between Bennett and Ads. I kind of caught the end of it, so I don't really want to speculate. Although it did look like there was some interesting contact between the two, whether that was due to the kind of track conditions or what have you, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think the stewards might have a keen eye on that one if it could just get sent in, because it did look like an interesting collision. We'll say that.
So then, Crispy with the fastest lap as well. So it's the big 27 points for the Dams driver. Midzi in second, Darnell third, as I say. If we look at the weekend results, then Crispy another 12 points gained on his championship rival. That means the gap is now up to 27 points with 5 races to go, 3 sprints and 2 features. Darnell comes home second for the weekend with 27. Beast is third with 25 points. Those three, if we can get them in the party, please, James, for the interviews. Corey, 22 points. Midzi as well, 22 points this weekend. Southerner, 8 points in both races. He gets 16. So strong points finishes from those guys, really. It was a good points performance for the big guns this weekend. Not too many mishaps from those guys at the front, and I missed the rest of the point scorers, so apologies.
Sorry, Harry, who am I getting in?
For that. We need Beast, Corey, and Beast, Crispy, and Darnell. Sorry.
There you go, just getting them in now.
Right then, so we'll get these guys in, and then I'll hand it over to you, James, mate, to do the interviews. What's going on, James? Are we
Then I've invited everyone.
well, I guess we can make a start with Crispy then, if no one else is joining. We can go through the others if they do join later on.
Yeah. Right then, yeah, we'll start with sort of Crispy. Obviously, dominated that feature race at the end there. Really, slight scare towards the end with the speeding in the pits. So yeah, if you just want to kind of talk us through your weekend on the whole, mate, and then kind of what your feelings were when you got that penalty right near the end.
Yeah, yeah, it went alright. Sprint race was obviously had an alright start in that, but then I think someone lost it like on the first lap coming out of turn 3, I think it was. So then obviously had to kind of take avoiding action, and then it ended up getting stuck behind Bennett for a couple of laps, and then obviously had the safety car, and then obviously yeah, on the restart, I think, I can't remember if it was the lap we restarted or a lap after, but made a pretty good move on him up the inside, and then yeah, that was that. Obviously I think one or two more drivers in front lost obviously like binned it themselves at some point, so that gained me a couple more positions. I did have very minor wind damage on my right end plate, so that maybe harmed me a little bit. But I think P5 in the end in that race was all right. Nothing much more could have really done. And then the feature race was was a little bit boring. Just was just kind of one of them ones where I just had to stay focused and stay really consistent with my lap times and stuff like not getting warnings, that kind of stuff. You touch on it. Obviously, the penalty at the end, the speeding in the pits. I don't really make things easy for myself. Sometimes it did give me a bit of a heart attack, but luckily I obviously had the gap, quite a big gap because of the fighting going on behind throughout the race. Obviously the strategy and the rain was obviously a little bit weird as well. Like obviously I knew the rain was going to come sort of about over like halfway through the race, about 3/4 in, but obviously it wasn't. It was really only spitting, to be honest. So I just tried to obviously go absolutely as long as I could on the mediums, and then obviously box for the softs because it just wasn't getting wet enough, and that was that. Just bring it home on the final lap. So again, good weekend overall.
Yeah, I think you've summed that up pretty nicely there, and obviously continuing to lead the championship and another feature race win to the collection is going to help with that. So congratulations to yourself, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We'll now move on to Darnell. I'm not sure if he's able to join the party or not, but either way, we'll move on to Darnell, who I'm sure is going to be a little bit disappointed to have lost more ground in the championship to Crispy, but overall another solid weekend from yourself. Obviously some fantastic battling we saw with Midzi and with Corey especially. So if you just want to talk us through your weekend, mate, and how it all panned out for you on track.
I think it was probably one of the most frustrating weekends in a while. Obviously I still got second in the weekend, but just I mean, the fact I qualified behind the top three kind of killed it straight away. I kind of sensed that after lap one, Crispy might be, given a bit of a gap, and there was, fighting between me, Midzi, and Corey. But I don't really know what else to say, to be honest. I was pretty optimistic coming into this weekend, but it just didn't really go to plan. I kind of need to hope for a bit of a miracle at Jeddah, but you really never know what might happen there. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's well said. You're never out of it until you're out of it, really. You've still got a chance, and I'm sure you're going to give it your best for the last few rounds of the season.
Yeah, certainly won't be giving up on it. Obviously, like you said, anything can happen. It ain't over till it's over, so just have to hope for the best next week and see where I stand heading into Abu Dhabi. But obviously, credit to Crispy, he still drove an amazing race, and just even the 5-second penalty didn't hinder him, so he was just pretty dominant all weekend, so yeah.
Yeah, that's well said. Congratulations on your weekend as well. Another strong result for you.
Thank you.
So we'll finally round off with Beast. I'm struggling to remember. Was it? Oh yeah, of course. You won this. You won the sprint, didn't you? That spin for Dodgy at the end feels like such a long time ago now. Dodgy spinning at the end, basically handing you the victory really in the sprint, and then it looked like a bit of an interesting future race, kind of battling with Mason Gammon for a long time. He seemed like his soft tyres were going to last forever until they pretty much went the complete other end of the scale. But two pretty interesting races, kept us entertained for sure in both of those. And if you just kind of want to talk us through especially that moment towards the end of the sprint race, and then like the other two guys, just give us a kind of overview of your two races, that'd be great.
Like you said, the sprint it was sort of somewhat gifted to me with the spin from Dodgy. I was gradually gaining, and I think maybe would have passed him by the end, maybe not. Would have been a close one, but it was an interesting sprint, like you say. And then the feature, Gammon had good pace on the softs for a good while, kept him going. but yeah, eventually they just died off, and he dropped back. And then after the pit stops, I had Southerner behind me, putting the pressure on, but yeah, sort of kept him behind. But nowhere near the pace of them top four. They were long gone. Even without getting stuck behind Gammon, I didn't have the pace to keep up with those. So what was it? P5 in the feature was probably the best I could have asked for. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
well, even
weekend
with
overall.
that, another yeah, exactly, another good weekend and another F2 victory to add to your collection. So yeah, congratulations to you and congratulations to the rest of the top three. If I'm gonna hand back over
Yes.
to you now, then Harry, just to round out the stream.
Yeah, sure. Again, apologies for all the issues at the start. Hopefully they'll be fixed for the next time we come to stream. But again, another fantastic week of racing here in the F2 division. Next week, Jeddah triple format weekend with the 2 sprints and the feature. So that'll be an interesting one. Big points on offer. Could provide a big twist in the championship fight. So be sure to tune in for that one. Otherwise, that's it for us today. Thank you everyone who tuned in. Thanks to all the drivers as well. Put on a fantastic show in both races. And we'll catch you later. Thanks guys. Good night.